Okay. Well, thank you everybody for coming. I'm a little bit disappointed that we don't have a few more people here today. Although it's probably going to be more important that you all, if that you all show up next month because Matt Crane is going to be here.
Hmm.
And please talk to anybody in your league that you think may be interested. When I was visiting with him the other day to confirm the dates, I was thinking I couldn't remember for sure whether he was coming in March or April. And so when we visited again the first of the week, he said, no, I had a commitment in March. So I'm planning on coming in April. But I did ask him when he comes to please focus on what he thinks that we as local leagues can and should be doing in order to get the word out about the election process, talk about, do some planning on. I'm not even going to say misinformation anymore because that implies that somebody, shared some information that wasn't factual unintentionally because what's out there is it's intentional in my opinion. So anyway, he said that that would be his focus, and anything else that he thinks of, he thinks that he comes up that he thinks that we need to know about, and of course he'll take anybody's questions. So that's um, that's what the focus of his meeting will be. Um, so that I don't forget, uh, Beth put in the chat some information about Initiative 195. That's the graduated income tax. And the language was approved. Now the heavy lifting has to be done to get the signatures so that we can get it on the ballot. We have to have we have to have about 124, 125,000 minimum. But we have to have 124, 25,000 legal signatures. 2% of those have to come from each county. And that's based on how many voters you have in your own county. We have about 22,000, I think, in Montezuma County. Anyway, I can't remember what it was, but
Yeah.
anyway, got to about 500 votes. So I'm figuring that, we'll need to probably get 600 or something like that because there'll be somebody that will sign that thought they could or sign twice or whatever. So you always want to provide a little bit of padding. Um,
Karen, I'm sorry to interrupt. Could I offer a little clarification?
or
Right. 2% of signatures need to come from each of Colorado's 35 state Senate districts.
every county. Mhm.
No, not every county, every state Senate district. And there are 35 of those. We have 64 counties. So you in Montezuma County aren't under quite as much pressure as you think.
No,
That's good news.
and I will tell you, we stepped up and got lots of signatures last time we were trying to get.
I know you did.
Yeah, we felt we did a really good job. But anyway, just a heads up, I will be sending an update out hopefully this weekend with a link to get the training. I've been in touch with the Bail Policy Center, and they are offering trainings. I think it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of every week. And they are really encouraging. But you can go online and do it at on the Secretary of State site. I did it, and I think it took me 20 minutes, maybe. It doesn't take a long time. But they are really encouraging people to attend one of these sessions because, in addition to providing you with the training so that you can get your certificate and actually carry a petition, they will also give you the nitty gritty about the graduated income tax, what the tax rates will be in each different income bracket, and how that money will be earmarked and all of that kind of thing. So it really is to your advantage to go ahead and do it that way. You will then have to sign a memorandum of understanding, and I did that this morning. Beth sent me the digital link to that. It didn't. The hardest part was trying to figure out how to get it so it will allow me to take my signature, and so that doesn't take any. And then, of course, what you might want to do within your local leagues, and I will share with you guys again when I send out my updates what we did in Montezuma County the last time. We set up sites where um, uh, petitions would be, and then sent that out on a weekly basis to our members and other community-wide emails so that people would know that there will be somebody at the city park or there'll be somebody at the Wild Edge Brewery or whatever. And that worked really well for us. We are also, I'm hoping to get the petitions in time so that we're going to have March 28th No Kings Rally here in town. And that's going to be hopefully a good way to get, we are hoping that there'll be tons of people that will show up who are like-minded individuals and would be happy to sign the petition. And if we can get a large number of our signatures there, that makes life easier. So that's a thought for you guys as well. And Beth has put a map of the Colorado State districts in the chat. So any questions about that? That's kind of off topic, but I'm glad that Beth mentioned it because I think the more we get the word out, the better. Barb?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just have trouble getting in when the links are on the agenda for some reason. But anyway, so you're going to send out a list of those trainings because I know people have been asking about them up here.
I will send to everybody that's on this email.
Okay.
The links with the information so that it'll be easy for you to click on it and do it.
Okay.
And are you sending them to our trainings, Karen?
What do you mean? Am I sending them to your trainings?
Jane and I have been trained by CFI so that we can train league members. And we had our first training this morning. The next one is tomorrow. We've got 3 next week. And we'll be sending out petitions to league members so we can track how many signatures and petitions league members collected.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Well, where's that list, Beth?
If you
list of the trainings, it's in the calendar.
Okay.
Well, if you will send that information out to me, I'm happy to send that out. My information came from Bell Policy, so that's what I shared with my local league. But yes, I'm happy to send I think that's a great idea to allow us as a state league to figure out how engaged our league has been in helping with this.
Well, first step is to do the training with us. And like I said, you can just register on the website calendar. And we have, 4 set up in the next week. And we'll keep them going as long as people keep signing up.
It would be helpful to me if do they have to register to do that, or can you provide a link?
No, we prefer registration so that we can, we just have a tally of who actually came to each training.
And you have to know who you're sending out the petitions to anyway.
Right.
Exactly.
So she has to have a listing somewhere, and that's an easy way to get it up front and have it ready to go so they can do the mailing as soon as they're done. We talked about this yesterday at the revenue LAC group too. And we only get credit if league only gets credit for the petitions that we process through our system. So if we go through the Bell Policy, we can't do it that way. They'll get credit.
Well, just send me an email on the days that you're going to have these, and then I will provide the link. And that there'll be trainings offered these days. Please do your training through the league, blah, blah, blah. And then that way I can send that out easily, and then people aren't having to look through the calendar to find it. Those dates will be there along with the fact that they need to register
All right. Okay.
Be helpful. And that would allow, that would allow people to take, if they can look at it all in one place without having to look for it in the calendar, then,
Well, it's also in the newsletter and things like that. But yeah, great.
Any other questions about initiative 195? I am certainly hoping that this is the right. It's I think people may think this is a whole new thing, but federal income taxes graduated, so this isn't anything astoundingly new. So okay. Unfortunately, Neil is not going to be. He was not able to be here today. He's on a plane heading somewhere to. He's on a plane heading to DC, and I wanted him to talk a little bit about one of the things that we discussed when Judd was here. He kind of floated the idea that there are some 550,000 inactive voters on the Colorado voter list, and depending upon your particular community, Boulder County, I think there's around 4,000. So he kind of floated the idea that, well, maybe the league would like to take that on and contact these voters to find out, have they just let their voting registration lapse, but they'd like to reactivate it? Have they moved out of the state? In which case, of course, they're not eligible to vote anymore. And would they notify would they go to this link and cancel that? So Judd was supposed to send us the document with all of the inactive voters. Well, it is such a large document that he tried sending it and never got to us. Boulder has been able to get their own. They apparently, I think they went to their county clerk and got it from that individual. Now, how they are going to choose to proceed, the longer Neil got to thinking about it, he wondered if this is really something that the league wants to devote and spend their time on. And I would say probably, particularly right now, when there are probably other things that may be more pressing at this point. So I think it's going to be a little bit more involved than maybe what it was made out to possibly be. What we might want to do is see how it works for the Boulder folks and what kind of system they come up with and how easy it was to do and what little tricks to the trade they learned as they went through the process, assuming that they do decide to so what are your thoughts? I mean, I don't want to continue to promote something if the majority of folks just feel like this is really not the best use of our time right now. Barb?
Well, anyway, I'm asking this on behalf of Larimer because I'm working with them on Unite and Rise activities and stuff, and I told them about this. I'm not sure what kind of information can we get addresses with those lists.
It would be,
Yes.
I think it would be telephone calls, Barb, but I'm not sure because I haven't gotten the list.
Okay, well, she has a group that wants to do postcards, and they were interested in doing it. And I just see that Beth put in that they could get voter lists through Van. So if that's how we can do, maybe they can access the voters that they're looking for to send postcards to. They wanted to focus on BIPOC voters, and I don't know how they can determine how that is. But anyway, that was their project. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well,
I think
Dina?
I was going to say, I think Boulder would be an interesting one in the sense of the first thing I do is I'd run a filter on the addresses and take out all the dorms.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, because those are people that may not even be in Colorado here anymore.
Right.
And they're certainly not going to be mailing addresses worthy of anything.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have, but Beth, what do we get on the Van list? Do we get a phone number?
I think Beth's already gone.
I think
she's gone. I'm sorry. You're right. She is.
I know that.
Yeah,
I think there's phone numbers on there, Christina.
Yeah, but I was going to say the first thing I would do is run a. Well, you're in Weld County too. I'd be running a filter.
Okay.
To get rid of the college students because we know they're gone
Mhm.
someplace. And then if you want to call them, find out where they're at, that's another story. But
Well, and I don't know if there's a separate inactive list too.
that's what I wanted to ask Beth is if you can pull the inactives. This only works if you can pull the inactives.
I think there is.
And
What I think that's what Judd was going to send us was the inactive list, because otherwise, I mean, you'd be pouring through hundreds of thousands of, how do you know?
Mhm.
So
But I mean, it's not a bad activity. If somebody's looking for an activity in the next 2 months, I wouldn't be wasting time on it closer to the election. But if you could run it in the next 2 months,
Well, and the fact if you did have a focus group, if they're younger voters or older, if you had
mhm.
a precinct that, an area of your county that had a situation where it seemed like they're on people that have been dropped off the list that you wanted to focus on. I don't know, a strategy of some kind.
well, and I personally think that it's a courtesy that even if we were able to get the list through Judd, that you would want to contact your county clerk and say, is this going to, how can what's going to be the best approach so that we can be helpful to you, as opposed to just going in there and saying, well, we're going to do this. But that's just me. I don't, you guys Jerry, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my guess is that unless you can get it done in like we're mid-March. If you get it done by the 1st of May, you're going to be busy after that because the primaries are coming up. Other things that we don't know yet are yet to be determined through executive orders and what possibilities. The one thing that Judd mentioned in his opening statement was he's doing things that he has never done before in his position, in anticipating of what kind of directions or roadblocks might be thrown in our way. So,
And Jerry, when I talked to Matt, he expanded on that. He said, because I mentioned that to him, I said, Judd had shared that with us, and he said, yes. And the concern is that if he said we also need to be focusing on those primary elections to be sure though they go through smoothly, because he said very often bad actors will target something that they may begin by targeting a primary because it's a little smaller than the general election and see what works. And if they can wreak havoc at the primary level, then they can use that. The administration then can use that and say, well, the primaries didn't go very well. There were all kinds of problems. And so the federal government needs to step in. So that kind of expanded on the what Judd had to say.
the thing that he said that scared me the most was an executive order to the post office to
Yes.
stop them from delivering ballots.
Right.
That's
Me
been what's
too.
frightening me.
Yep, I agree.
Then I thought, what do you do? Hire Amazon to deliver?
I don't know. They're having a problem with their contract with the UPS right now. At least that's what I heard this morning.
He's having
on
a
a call.
problem.
I'm on a Zoom call right now. Thank you very much. Bye.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, if it came after the ballots were delivered, that's not a problem because we can just
Get the drop boxes.
to drop their ballots off at the drop boxes, which they probably should be doing anyway. But I don't know. Does anybody have any ideas about what we can do to? I think part of the problem too is that if you have somebody beating this drum constantly, that mail-in ballots aren't safe. Even though we know, in fact, that's not true, how many people are going to disengage, and how do we combat that?
I don't know, but I've also heard too that it's a lot of the Republicans like mail-in ballots too for the convenience and everything else. I
Trump,
don't.
Sure.
Trump
I
did-
think we can't control what happens, but I think we can be advocates and speak
Mhm.
with kind of speak with confidence that especially the primary is going to happen and people need to get out there and vote and it's really important. And so I see that as our role rather than, I
Yeah,
don't know, trying to
Yeah.
worry about what might happen.
well, I agree with you, Lisa. I just, it's like, what do we do to counteract that message? And I think every time we open our mouths, we say, and Colorado's safe and secure election system.
Right. I think, I don't know. I think we have to come together and have some kind of a messaging campaign and have things on our websites or things on when we're out doing registration that these are the messages that we're going to convey.
I think the other thing is, and I'm running the Facebook side for Jeffco. You know, every time, I mean, I must go out a couple times a day to make sure that about the SAVE Act, trying to get stuff on that. And then there's other things that are floating about this is how little fraud there is. I keep
Right.
reposting those. I repost them on my personal and getting each and every one of our league members to be out there on the social media. I know nobody wants to do it, but if we don't start getting that message out and trying to override it, and if you get somebody that responds, say, okay, come up with your documentation. Even the Heritage Institution says there's no fraud.
I was going to say that I thought that was quite interesting. I've seen that posted several times. In what, how many years? There's only been like 100 cases of verified voter fraud
Yeah.
over many, many. We're not talking about just the last election. We're talking about many elections.
Last 24 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, but to reiterate that message, every place we go is going to be crucial and getting it out there, but getting our members to be, even if they just go out and like what somebody's put on the Facebook page from our LWV websites, you know, our Facebook pages, that's going to be getting the message out and trying to get it out again and again and again. Lisa, I took over.
Oh, no, not at all. Last week, or maybe it was earlier this week, I can't remember. I met with my co-chair, Mariam Barishis, and Pearl Anzalani, who's our director of communications with Denver. And we kind of came up with a strategy that we're going to run by our voter service committee meeting, which is this coming Monday. But I was going to share my screen if that's okay, and I'll show you what we came up with. And because I'd love to get your feedback.
Hang on just a minute, because I think I have to give you that permission. So let me pull you up so that I can. Come on. There we go. Oops.
I have a share option here.
Try it, see if it works.
Yeah. You may already be on. You have. It's good.
Great.
Yay. So we started a little document and we called it Get Out the Vote, but instead of a traditional Get Out the Vote where you're calling people and saying, hey, you need to, you know, register or get your ballot back in, our focus was combating voter suppression because we felt that was the problem. And so this part here in bold, it focuses on strengthening public trust in Denver's election system while continuing to promote voter participation. We decided that was kind of our goal. And then we came up with 3 items that we were going to run. We had lots of items.
Yeah.
But we came up with 3 and they're highlighted in yellow that we were going to run by our voter service committee. And the first one was engage volunteers for a speaker bureau, and that we try to go out to community groups or TV and radio stations, you know, talking about the safety of the election. Then we were going to develop text for our website and also have something in paper, probably a card kind of thing that we could give out at our voter registration drives because we have quite a few of those coming up in the next few months. And then this isn't an action by itself, really. Develop meaningful and memorable personal stories to share that we could do through videos or social media posts, because it's our understanding people can really relate to that versus just some text, oh, our elections are fair, but rather personal stories from people. So those are I just wanted to share that with you. That's kind of what we're thinking of now. So once again, I'd love to get your input in terms of what you think. would work and what you wouldn't do, or if you have other ideas.
Lisa, can you send that to me? If you'll send that to me, I will send it out to everybody. I love this idea. I think this is exactly what we need to be doing. Barb and I were talking recently, and our concern is that with so much stuff going on, if every single league has to come up with their own strategy, it just I think the more we can piggyback on something that another league has already started to develop and tweak it so that we can, my needs in Montezuma County may be different than, what Christina's are in Jeffco. But having something like this to begin with, I think is great. Barb?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know. I've watched a lot of the cable news and stuff, and they've had some very good speakers on about this, the upcoming elections and all the possible problems that we could encounter. But the one that struck me the most, and I can't remember, it was something like, voter suppression warfare. I'm just using that. It was like, we have to come back with some positive messages that keep saying, this is what the truth is. This is what's really happening, to combat all the mis and disinformation that comes out daily too. But I think we have to have some kind of a messaging campaign, and I think we all have to be on the same page as the whatever messages they are, to keep them simple and be on the same page together.
I was just thinking, Mary Lonigan is somebody who's been a Jeffco election judge for years, and she's very presentable. And I was just wondering if we could have tape done and maybe find some other people who building on your talking about experiences, have that run through the state LWVCO system and the interviews done that way. And then we can circulate it out to all of us to distribute and on on our local websites, or, Mesa's already using states, but to have that kind of personality experience would be wonderful. And then pull some other people from Western Slope and things like that.
Like a plan to me. Other thoughts on this? Yes, great.
Grace?
Hi, everyone. I'm with the Chaffee County Chaffee County League of Women Voters, head of voter services. So I apologize for joining late, and it's very nice to see you all. And is the intent to try to do something at the state level? And I apologize, I did join late, so I might have missed some things, but that little document that I forget who shared that, but it was brilliant. And I'm wondering, like, there's a woman in our league who is an election judge. She used to be the treasurer for the Republican Party. And I think she, like, that kind of person would be a great statewide person. And I think she might, because she knows in Chaffee County, they're very secure. And so if we could get her voice out statewide, that might be a really ideal kind of person to get out there.
Well, it would be easier if we could get the state to get that out. Now, I think that this is something that the election task force can help with. I mean, that's part of the reason why this task force was created, was to be able to, in fact, initially, and Jerry she and I worked together on the Colorado election white paper that was written in 2022, Jerry. Part of this task force was created was to help get the word out about how safe Colorado elections are, and that we're working at improving them every single election cycle. So yes, I think having the state roll out some stuff would be very helpful, but I think that there's a role for the election task force to either do what Lisa has done and presented the document that we can work on. And I think that's something that our task force can help with as well. Jerry.
I like the thought that we've got Chaffee County and Denver ready to do videos. And if we want to do this statewide, we might want to have a representation from across the state, with people who have a script.
Oh, yeah.
And just, here's your 10-second soundbite, and keep it short, 30 seconds long, 45, whatever. And but I just think the statewide representation would be helpful.
I agree with you. It's people are going to be much more likely to buy into it or to have confidence in it if it's somebody that either they know personally or they know that they're from their own area.
And maybe multiple, well, both male and female voices being mentioned.
Yes.
Well, maybe some younger voters too.
Yep, exactly.
Statewide. I'm just taking some notes here.
By the way, I was trying to, I clicked on the link to the document, but it's in Google Docs and you have to have a secret
Oh.
code to get into it. And
Sure. Let me see.
I always have trouble with those secret codes. They come, some come and don't, some don't.
Yeah, let's see. I can, yeah. You all,
Send it in Word doc.
oh, okay. That's what I'll do.
Do you have my email?
You guys are so smart.
I wouldn't know where to start with that.
No, Barb just knows what happens on prior problems because I hadn't even thought about clicking on it. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. We need the code.
Well, let's see. In the chat, can I attach a document?
Oh, but I don't know how to do that either.
Oh, yeah, I have not ever done that. I just typed in my email address if that's helpful to you.
No, I think these are good ideas. I love them because we just need some counteractive voices on the ones that we keep hearing every day that they're making sure we hear.
And now I think now you were mentioning these as TikTok videos. Are there other platforms? Instagram? I don't know. I mean, I can get on. I don't have a TikTok account. I can get on Instagram, but I certainly have never uploaded anything to those.
Well, this is going to be a learning experience for me too, because I haven't done anything, but I think it's going to be something we have to try. And I think I know a couple people that can help us do this.
And Facebook as well.
And oh yeah, because well, what we're doing now is when we do a Zoom presentation and we tape it, we upload it to YouTube, and that takes us to Instagram and to. But I'm not the one doing it. It's been Kath Perone that's been doing this for me for a long time. So I'll have to work with her and see what we can get done. And I'm quite certain that state knows how to do this probably faster and better than any of us do. So we'll have to ask Beth for help. But me. Grace, should we start thinking about how to develop a script?
One thing I put in that's in this document down below where it says context, how do our actions complement? One of the bullets is for League of Women Voters of Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And Beth had told us that they're going to have a summer intern to respond to mis and disinformation via the website, social media, and distribution of information to local leagues. So I think they have somebody coming in May. You know, maybe that's a little late, but
it's not going to be too late this year.
No, I think every day, all the way to the election. Some people are paying attention, some people aren't. But they are paying attention probably to the primary. But I don't think that those interns are scheduled until after 1st of July. I mean, she may be looking for them, but
the person who occasionally loads on our TikTok account is Holly Murphy. Did y'all ever know Holly Murphy?
Mm-mm.
She was a member of the Denver League. She lives outside of Colorado Springs now, but she works for League of Women Voters US remotely. So we could always, she's very good. She's like, I don't know, 35 or something like that. She puts music to these videos and
Oh, cool.
yeah. So I don't know if we could try to rope her in, but there are people out there who
that'd
are
be
good
neat.
at it.
Yes.
Well, I think that's the secret is to being able to find the people that can help with this, that have the skills and you know, have a group that, you know, there's somebody that comes up with a script and somebody that's responsible for contacting individuals who are willing to do it. And then somebody who knows how to put it to music or whatever in order to make it so that it actually has appeal. So it really is a joint project for sure. Well, I want you to know, Lisa, that I was able to download your document.
Good.
Me too. Me too.
It
Oh,
will,
good.
I don't know how you did it, but that was super.
okay, all you have to do is just click on what she put in the chat, and it will download it. It will put it in your download folder, but because I want to be able to find it, I, instead of allowing it to go to download, I put it in the election task force folder. You want to double check to find, it's titled GoTV. So, but you just want to make sure that you know that that's the title of the document. So when you get ready to look for it, you can find it.
Yeah.
So,
And mine gave me the option of well, of course you can slide through whether you want to put it in a folder or in your desktop.
is this what's the format on this, Lisa? Is this in a Word or a PDF or?
It's just Word.
Word.
It,
Yeah.
it was a Google Doc. So
That's good because then that way folks can they can alter it.
oh yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Okay. Um, all right. What I will do is I will share Lisa's document. I will jot down the suggestions that you guys have all made with regards to, you know, reaching out and finding people across the state, coming up with scripts, seeing who we can enlist, and I'll talk to Beth and see if this is something that this intern will have the skills to be able to do, or if we need to get some people across from other leagues, we can do that. And then how much would they like the election task force to do, and how much is the state going to take care of? I know that the state is understaffed, lots of stuff to do, and not very many people, and so if it means that we need to take that on, I'm hoping I have some willing workers here. So on the agenda, I put the election security position. If you haven't looked at it lately, or if you're not even familiar with it, it was developed in 2022 as well. There were a group of us at the state level that looked at national election security position and honestly felt that it was not very robust. And I think given all of the challenges and I'm having a senior minute, the attacks that our election system is under fire right now, I think they ought to take it back, but it's a national issue about getting it passed, because what that group did was they looked through, they did a lot of research, and they came up with, I think it was 12 or 13 points of things that were really important, that secure, reliable elections, that those are components, all components of secure and reliable elections. And I think familiarizing yourself with those are talking points that you can use. We have risk limiting audits. We limit, excuse me, who can submit their ballots online, because we all know that online is not a very secure place to be. If you've ever had your Amazon account or anything else hacked, you know that I think Experian is making tons of money from these companies who've had security breaches. So online submission of a ballot really is not the best way to do it. But if you keep that, we don't want to not allow people for whom they can only vote that way. We don't want to say, well, you can't vote because you can't vote the way the rest of us can, but it's very limited. Neil and I had a very interesting conversation with two of the folks in the Secretary of State's office, because when you go online to ask for a special ballot, they showed us the step by step of what happens if you consider yourself disabled, and you have to be able to answer yes, that you do have a vision disability in order to go through the online track that allows you to actually fill out your ballot and then submit your ballot online. And you can fill it out online, but if you don't qualify for the vision disability, then you have to print the ballot out and either mail it or drop it off at a drop box. So, of course, those Americans are military personnel who are overseas. They do have permission, and they are a whole other group. The Secretary of State's office has those people tagged that they qualify as military and out of country voters, and so they can submit their ballots online, or they can mail them in too if they want to. But so there are provisions in there to limit that on that online submission. Anyway, if you haven't had a chance to take a look at that, please do so. And I would encourage you to visit with other members of your local leagues, because I think those are talking points that you can use as well. Jerry, do you have anything to add to that?
I really don't know.
Karen, Grace has a question.
Sorry, Grace.
That's okay. Thank you. Is there a unique login for election ballots, or is it through ID.me, or do you know what system they're using? Or if it says in that document, then that's fine. I'm just curious about ID.me is very annoying, but it's definitely thorough. It does biometrics of your face and that kind of stuff. So
that I can't answer.
Okay.
I know. I do know that we went online at the Secretary of State's office. They took us kind of behind the scenes stuff that you as a voter aren't going to see, but the tracking, the way it's tracked, so that you go online and you say you want to cast your ballot, and then it asks you several questions, and depending upon whether you say yes or no to those questions, then if you say yes, I'm a military out of country voter, then it sends you to this part of the website. If you say I'm that I have a vision impairment, then it sends you here. If you just say you're disabled, then it sends you someplace else. And if you have a disability, it makes it. The reason that Neil and I wanted to talk with him about this was because when you look at the first page, it says disability, and it makes it sound like if you're disabled, you can submit your ballot online, which I think is a little bit misleading. But once you have clicked on either one of those, disabled or vision impaired, then it's two separate tracks, and you are limited in how you can submit that ballot. So
gotcha. Okay.
I hope that was helpful to you.
It was.
Sometimes I know just a little bit to be dangerous, Grace.
Welcome to the world. Yeah.
Jerry, I'm going to turn this next portion over to you, because Jerry has done some since we did our presentation. We actually took our white paper to the 2022 National Convention. It was held in Denver. Hallelujah. And so we were presenting our election security position, which I said unfortunately got voted down. But we also did a workshop on Colorado's stellar election system. And Jerry has also done some follow-up presentations at the request of individual leagues or civic organizations. So why don't you share your thoughts about that, Jerry, and any ideas that you have for how we might want to promote this more, because I think education is the key here.
Well, I'll ask Barb Dungy to chime in, because she was at the presentation I did for the Arapahoe Douglas League a couple of weeks ago. the feedback that well, first of all, I had very little editing to do to bring it to current information. Most of it dealt with dates. And so that I have already done. I will also preface it by saying there is a bill going through the legislature where the ballots may be sent out 22 days before election as opposed to 15 days. And so, or is it 21 days? But anyway, giving it another week. So we'll see that. I'm not sure where that bill is right now, but that would be a change we would have to make. And then that's not significant. I think there, Barb, what were there? About 30 people in the room? And
I guess about that. I don't remember exactly.
the feedback that I heard from people, even were people who have been election judges and a lot of knowledge and experience regarding elections, that appreciated the refreshener to the information, and just to remind people what happens when you go to the ballot. I have not had any other requests from other leagues, but happy to be there. We can do it video on Zoom.
Jerry, how long is it?
I would plan 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I haven't. I've been on the bench for the last month and a half, so I haven't gotten things organized yet. But I'll keep that in mind for a program, or else just we're trying to come up with some election information education programs. And do you do it in Zoom or person or what?
It's also available on the LWVCO website under elections.
Oh, okay.
I think it's called, under elections, it's called Colorado Elections. Is that right, Karen?
I think so. If you'll pour down there, there's a link to election security, and then there's a link to the white paper.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, one of the things I've been thinking about is trying to line up some programs at the library.
Uh-huh.
And so, maybe we could do something like that. And if you have a video all ready to go, we certainly can supplement and help maybe answer questions. But it would be, we're just trying to get the word out about how safe our elections are, the kinds of things that League's done to help make them that way and to reassure people. So I'll check it out, but I'll keep in touch.
Maybe in the colleges.
Oh gosh, yes, because we're trying to get in touch with. Certainly I'm involved with Ames Community College up here.
Oh, so, perfect.
Yeah, we have it. We're working on a voter engagement project with them, and we have for about 4 years.
And I need to send it to Karen, but I adapted everything in the script so that the speaker's notes are available.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So you don't have to do any homework.
Excellent. Nice. Except I'll tell you this, that explaining risk limiting, whatever that is.
Risk limiting audits. That's the question I got.
I know. I mean, can we come up with something that's, parallel but in elementary school language?
Well, Stacy on our committee always used, if you're fixing a pot of soup and you're trying to serve it and you want to sample it ahead of time, you don't eat the whole pot to know that it's ready to serve.
Yeah.
So I've watched them do it. So I mean, seeing them do it and hearing about the name of it are two different things. You're thinking some mind-blowing operation has to happen when it really isn't that bad. That's a good example. Thanks, Jerry.
Well, that's one. And then there was someone in our audience a couple of weeks ago that said, when the question came up, that said, it's just like a financial audit. They don't go through every line item unless they need to. They take a look at certain things.
Okay.
And if it rings true. So if that helps, it's sort of new.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, within the last 10 years, certainly. But people still aren't familiar with what that is.
And they're tweaking it, I think, all the time. I get the impression when I talk with Neil that I don't know whether you all know who Neil McBurnett is. He's, as I said, he's not here today, but Neil worked on the election security position. He's a computer expert who's been involved in elections for many years, and he is really focused on risk limiting audits, doing, improving them so that they're even, more accurate and I mean, it's when he starts getting into the weeds, it's like, I don't even know what you're talking about, but there's are things that, just little tweaks kind of behind the scenes. And then of course the throw of the dice. So you know which ballots to choose or that kind of thing. It's kind of an interesting process. But I know when the slide deck was put together, we worked really hard to make sure that it was easy as possible to be able to present it. And if you want Jerry or you want me or, well, I guess we're the two that worked on it to do something, we can certainly help you with that. I'm wondering if you might want to partner with your county clerk as well. I know when I went to Uncompahgre, probably a year and a half ago, I did several presentations with the county clerk, and it was really helpful to have that person there because sometimes there'd be little questions that came up that I wasn't sure about because I didn't deal with it every day, but that person did. So, and it gets them out and from the public, right?
You know, what you just said, Karen, really struck a chord with me. We have Lori Mitchell as our elections clerk, and she's not running again this year. But given the Tina Peters situation, I'm wondering if at the state level maybe we could coordinate with I don't know who this proverbial we is, by the way, but just pointing to something is election clerks, because because what she did, I feel like, at least that's my experience with Lori, is she feels a little extra defensive about protecting the elections. And so maybe that might be a good partnership.
I think that's a good idea. We just had an editorial in our paper.
Hi, Lisa. Oh, she already went.
Oh, did she have to go? Okay.
Yes.
We had an editorial in our paper just today where the newspaper was saying, Governor Polis, do not pardon Tina Peters. And they gave all the reasons why.
Good.
And said that the county clerks across the state signed a letter to the governor saying, please do not do this. So I will tell you, if he does it, I think he's making a big mistake.
Well, and he would be going against all of his other pardons, which would be sad.
I know.
Or is your hand still?
Yeah, well, so she left, but anyway, I've always had a good working relationship with our county clerk up here.
Mm-hmm.
And honest to God, she stuck her neck out in tough times, Carly Koppas, through all the election denial stuff. And she gets death threats to this day.
Yeah.
But she's run a tight ship and a secure ship. But
same for ours, and her spouse got death threats as well. So
yeah. So anyway, we're working, Larimer and Boulder County and Weld are working together. We're trying to get our county clerks together for a panel talking about election security and just having them, in a public setting. Mm-hmm. We haven't set it up yet, but once it's just more reassurances and at time to ask questions. And I know she gives tours of our election area and explains what goes on. So I haven't set this up yet, but I know that Larimer County I was on a meeting with them and their county clerk of the life of a ballot, and they're going to have a meeting and have a public meeting. So the more we can do to get people into the election area or get them familiar with the process and reassure them that this is what we're doing and how well we're doing it, that's our plan. So some of the things we've been thinking about up here.
Our election, we've worked very closely with our election clerk as well, who unfortunately she's term limited, and so will be elected.
Yeah, Carly's gone term limited too.
Well, the interesting thing is that our county commissioners are going to put something on the ballot that will not term limit the treasurer, the assessor, or the county clerk.
Oh my
It-
God, that's a great idea.
So too, I thought,
Why term it? Oh my goodness. And the
Mhm.
coroner too, like, what are you gonna do? What, chop up some dead person or something? Like, come on.
the thing is, it's not like it deprives the voting public from from having a say because they'll still have to run, everything it is. It just means that if you've got somebody who's really good and they're young and they want to stay on, then we've got two unknowns that are running here in Montezuma County that I don't even know what race they have. So,
Do you have that verbiage?
what verbiage are you talking about?
Ballot issue.
I'll probably get it for you.
I want to pass that up because I know all the commissioners here. I mean, we're a tiny little, blip, but that'd be even more important for our little blip to have that.
Hey, I will call the county manager and see if I can get him to send that to me
Okay, thank you.
too. Anyway, I was going to say that Jerry, if you'll send me that updated slide deck, I'm wondering if that would be something where you reach out to your county clerk, share the slide deck with them, and then they can just be there. They can look at it. They know ahead of time what's there, and then can maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about with our panel, that maybe we could introduce and show an overview of what the leagues worked on and our, I'm not going to talk position, our beliefs or the things that we supported, but then they can chime in and provide evidence and substantiate the things we've been talking about.
And then have copies.
Yep, absolutely.
I put those in your agenda so you can make a copy of the white paper and you can make a copy of the election security position and have those as handouts.
Is that in this packet?
It was on your agenda. Yep.
Oh, my agenda. Oh, I got it.
That's the packet. So
I'm just coming, folks.
well, we're just a little after 1 o'clock. Gosh, I'm so glad you all came today. I have to say, I feel like we had a really good, productive conversation. I think sometimes things that I never feel like we've gotten very much accomplished, that there's been a lot of wheel spinning, but I love the idea that we're gonna touch base with state on doing some TikTok, Facebook sorts of things that I'll send some information out and see about the if there are leagues that have the time and interest in maybe doing something with inactive voters. I'll get you information on the language from our county commissioners. Is there anything? And I will send you again the links to those two documents. And if Jerry will send me her updated slide deck, I will share that with you as well. So you have a whole packet of stuff that you can, and then you can reach out to your county clerk and say, here.
Yeah, and you're also going to send information on the 195.
Yes.
Sign.
I'll also send information at 195. Is there anything else?
Rich has his hand up.
Know about the legislative, like at the state level, what they can support.
Yes, I will. I will have a conversation with Beth, and I think maybe because Barb is still doing, Barb is involved with voter services. Maybe Barb and Beth and I can get together and
What is it? What was this on?
maybe you and I can get together with Beth to visit with her about what kinds of things the state can kind of be responsible for.
Oh, okay. Got it.
We as the election task force can provide, because I as I said earlier, I think that with being so much going on, that if there are some things that we can do, we have contacts. If we can get more border services people to kind of get to these from across the state and find out who we can contact to, to be willing to do a testimonial or whatever, why that would be.
Okay.
So,
Got it. I didn't understand I just want to know about the task.
yeah. Rich.
Hey, sorry, I'm an hour late. I'm in Arizona, lovely, sunny, hot Arizona. My apologies for messing up the time zone wise one more. People remember me as the guy who's been advocating for Colorado to join the other states for sending their ballots out with a paid postage return envelope, but always been stymied by the financial cost of that. So in my conversation with Steve Schleicher, our wonderful clerk and recorder here in El Paso County, I came across this idea of having people be eligible to opt in to receive a paid postage return envelope. And I've had some conversation with him about that way the voter can say, yep, I'm just a guy who never has stamps in my home. And in order to mail my ballot back in, I need to get that return ballot with a paid postage return envelope. And so we chatted a little bit about that. I just want to throw that out there as an idea that the League of Women Voters and others may try to join me about. Mr. Schleicher was also exploring the idea of having voters opt out of receiving a mailed out ballot. So the two things might actually offset a little bit in terms of cost. So I won't keep people longer here. Go ahead, Karen.
I was going to say, you do know that if somebody mails their ballot and doesn't put a stamp on it, the county clerk's office will take care of that. They'll pay.
Interesting little development in that regard. Mr. Schleicher, interesting development in that regard. Mr. Schleicher, after having said that exact same thing to me, sent me a copy of the law in Colorado statute that says the voter must provide postage. But just by practice that we actually do something else. My message back to him was, thank goodness there's never any penalty attached to not doing that, because I've been doing it for years and years and years and years. And no one's come to arrest me or give me a traffic ticket of any sort so far. But the law actually does say the voter must provide postage. But by practice, of course, you're right, they don't.
Well, I think the rationale behind that is that if you're going to mail in your ballot, they'd really like for you to put a stamp on it, because it just adds to the cost of the election. And Lord knows we don't have enough money to do everything we need to do anyway. But if you mail it without a stamp, they're going to take it. So
the post office, then the post office gets reimbursed by the county elections office.
That's how it works. Yeah.
I call it the smallest conceivable act.
Grace.
Well, that's a good point. I can see where this might go, where the USPS might decide to hold up any unstamped ballots.
Well, I think
they have national policy, national written policy that they always deliver. An interesting little story, if I can hold your attention to this just for a little bit longer. My friend mailed in their ballot in their personal mailbox without a stamp. It didn't get picked up for 2 days running. I called the USPS national complaint line. Someone answered the phone. They answered the phone. They made a case number out of it. They sent that information to the Colorado, Wyoming, and some other states complaint manager, customer service manager. That person called me on the phone, said, Mr. Linz, we're so sorry that happened to you. Can we send someone to your address to pick up your ballots?
Okay.
Yeah, they were going to send the mailman to my address to pick up the ballot. And so they're very committed to getting your ballot delivered. It's not in the law, I don't think, that the county elections office must reimburse the U.S. Postal Service. It's just done by practice as well.
So the result is the same. Christina, did you have a question?
It always gets sent.
I don't have a question. I have a statement. Okay. Because failure to pick up the mail seems to be an ongoing problem all of a sudden. Somebody was telling me about this last week, that they will no longer pick up the mail from the individual post box in their lawn. They will stuff the new mail in, but they will not pick up the mail. And I'm going, what is going on? and we are having questions about, I have a corner, where 32 people pick up their boxes, and we're questioning whether the mail's getting picked up from there. And I think Grace is correct. The problem very well may become, oh, gee, we're just not going to return these ballots to the election office if they're mailed, even if they're stamped or not stamped. And I think we're back into, we have got to be encouraging people to go to the ballot, drop these off at the ballot box. Because right now, with the threats coming down from national, that is an easy way to put a little memo out there and not tell anybody that we're not going to pick up the ballots. We're not going to deliver them. We're just going to stack them in the office.
Just to finish my story, just the end of it is, I spoke to my mailman about this and how my friend did not have their mail picked up. And he said, oh, yes, I got training today. The whole team got training today that we must pick up ballots. And that I believe he got, the mailman got a personal conversation with the postmaster in his area about, hey, what the heck is going on? My mailman said, we get training every year about how we must pick up and deliver all election materials. So although I agree that people going to the polls to pull the lever is probably the most direct and safest thing to do, I believe that the U.S. Postal Service is diligent about picking up mailed out ballots.
The biggest concern that I have with mailing your ballot, I live in Cortez, our ballots go to Albuquerque. And sometimes, I mean, I can remember my mother would write me letters. She lived in Phoenix, and sometimes it'd take a couple weeks for the letter to get there. So I don't have much confidence in how quickly, I'm not worried it's not going to arrive eventually, but I just worry about how quickly. And because there are ballot box placed usually in several locations, depending upon the size of your community, rather than dropping it off and hoping that the postman gets it by 7 p.m. election day, we just always use a drop box. And I can't remember, Jerry, how many percentage of people do use the drop box now. It's a vast majority that do return their ballot back.
It's an interesting 60-40 mix in Colorado. Other states have quite different experiences in terms of how many use the post office versus how many go to the polls. And the research about the delivery of ballots back to the elections office is also quite telling. It's just the weird part of the world that I'm some knowledge about, but it is really, really fast and high for those services. But you're right, if your mail goes to Albuquerque, perhaps caution to put it in the mail is wise. Jerry.
One of the strange things here was several months ago, or I forget when exactly it was, but the Postal Service was planning on closing the sorting center in Grand Junction and trekking it over to Denver and then back. And, how many days does that add on to it? And the conditions of the roads between here and there. And, at one point, all three of the major roads of getting from here to Denver were closed for one reason or another, with fire, mudslides, avalanche, a bridge out. And so, it was obviously a stupid idea in the first place, but it was supposedly to, be more efficient and save money. I never believed that.
Good point, Vicki. Thank you. I believe Judge Schote shared the statistics last month that 5% of Colorado voters in the previous election had used the U.S. postal mail. The other 95% of the people either voted in person, which was minimal. And so that left you, I'll give them 5%. I don't think it was that high. But the 90% used the drop box.
A convenient way to do it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've had conversations with Judd about this very topic, and he tends to cherry pick particular elections. He'll cherry pick an election where the public is tiny, tiny, tiny. Some kind of school board election for if you will. So I'd be cautious about what Judge tells you. I've been in a number of conversations with him where even his arithmetic was really, really bad.
Well, I agree that it does change from election to election, like an off-year election or a general election. However, the majority of voters in Colorado use a drop box. A
I think that's
significant
accurate.
majority.
I think that's accurate, but I think it's close to 60-40. Maybe I'm thinking about it. I think you're right. I think it's in states that already have postage paid, where the break is 60-40. And Colorado is
It hasn't
different.
been that low for a long time.
Okay, well, thank you.
Just an interesting idea to try to have voters have the option of asking for a paid postage return envelope, because we know poor people and people who don't have cars and are working two jobs tend not to vote. The stamp, in my opinion, is a serious impediment to them. I didn't mean to keep people so long. I appreciate your patience in talking about this.
Well, thanks. Well, Jerry, I will watch for the updated slide deck. Thank you so much, Vicki, for coming today. And
See you.
I will call when it's here next month.
Bye all.